All right, just to finish up here with this, the changes that occurred. We talked a little bit about the changes the last one in the previous part of the video, but I just want to talk about one other thing, just a little bit more, a little higher level kind of idea. So the market revolution brings about these dramatic changes, and one of the changes is, well, not really a change, right? That people get to exercise their individual liberty. A person can open up a factory. A person can open up a general store. They're doing what they want. They're doing what where their liberty leads them economically. But if you own a factory and you're making all this money, and you have to have workers in that. So and what happens is you're driving other people out, like the cobbler we talked about. If you own the shoe factory, you're driving the cobbler out of business, and you're hiring other people to be the workers. So while you're exercising your individual liberty, others are experiencing a loss of their rights and privileges and things that they had had for generations. So at the same time, one group is exercising their liberty, there's other groups that are losing their rights and privileges. And that has a social effect on people. All right? This is a real disturbing and upsetting time in American history. And that's why there's such dramatic kind of reforms later on. You're going to have the Second Great Awakening. You're going to have all these community experiments that pop up where people are searching for that traditional kind of American system of economy and society. So an example of this with respect to the market revolution is the cult of domesticity. Prior to the market revolution, most American women were very important in the economic well-being of their homes. They made the cloth, they made food that they sold if they had extra. They provided economic services for not only their community but for their home. But now with the market revolution, they no longer have to make the clothes. They can go and buy them. So what the market revolution kind of does is force people from a more independent, especially women, from a more independent economic way of life into what we call the cult of domesticity, where they're in the home and raising the children, and that's what we think of the American woman. But before the market revolution, that was not the case. They were out in the fields, they were working, they were milking the cows, they were making the clothes, they were making pies to sell to their neighbors on a Sunday. They were part, and a very important part, of the economic well-being of their families. But now, because of the market revolution, that's no longer necessary. And they're kind of forced back into the homes like we think about today. When we think about American women in history, we think of them always in the home. That's not the case. After the market revolution, yes. Before it, not so much. So you have this rise of what is known as the cult of domesticity. That's what's going to lead eventually to the women's rights movement in the 1840s. Because women resent that type of change. And then obviously we talked a little bit about it already, this idea of a dependent class, a class of people who are workers, who don't own property and they don't have a lot of wealth. So in a lot of cases, they're not receiving the same rights and privileges as everybody else and what had been a tradition for them. Now, the importance of that is, with the dependent class, do they get the right to vote? Because remember, voting rights at that time were exclusive. They were only for those who own property. So as a result of this dependency, you're going to have the beginnings of what's known as universal manhood suffrage, where everybody, white males, can vote. All right? So I just want to kind of clear that up a little bit and talk a little bit about that, because that'll have an impact on the rest of your study of this period between say, 1830 and the Civil War.